The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age and not with undaunted ABC Amba News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution on Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco Cameron.
Good evening and welcome to Undaunted, bringing into the news untold stories. I am Star Smart. Let's begin. On the 11th of February, in the history of Southern Cameroons, Amazonia is the day any right-thinking Amazonian wished never existed. This is the day the United Nations, in a conspiracy type of a plebiscite, rubbished the integrity and sovereignty of the former British Southern Cameroons, which, like any other territory under trusteeship, was supposed to be autonomous. But the UN, playing the part of an army rescue in a scenario void of fire, put the clause for the independence of former British Southern Cameroons. That notwithstanding, the Amazonian Restoration Forces is still in full power, keeping the home front a hot ground for La République du Cameroon's soldiers. Now, we hope to have a brief exclusive interview session with Professor Epote in tonight's Undaunted. And to usher us into tonight's whole package, let's have the prime headlines.
Here are the prime headlines for today. Some Bell local government area crippling because of lack of roads and electricity. The interim government has declared the 10th to 11th of February total shutdown in Ambazonia. Now, this is because the 11th of February is a day the birthright of Ambazonia was stolen. Right. Also, today, Bui County Situation Report is a report that you wouldn't want to miss. And as well, we will be having an exclusive interview with Professor Ipote. Now, on the foreign scene, more than 4,300 people have died in an earthquake in Turkey. And in sports, JC Marsh has been sacked after less than a year in charge. Now, let's get the news in detail.
The media greatly influences society. They inform people about what is happening. It permeates people's lives by creating their own criteria and opinions. In this way, the media moves the masses, creating different social movements.
For over 60 years, the people of Ambazonia were deprived of such privileges. The privilege to enhance their own criteria and opinion. They have suffered cultural genocide for 6 long decades, but not in this age and not with undaunted ABC Amba News on board.
You must understand that wars are fought and won in the media. The speed of the revolution on Ambazonia's quest for freedom cannot be explained without highlighting the diligent use of the media.
Franco-Cameroon colonizers, among other strategic moves, weaponized the media against Ambazonia for so long, and they continue to do so even today. The question would be, how much do the oppressed people of Ambazonia need to counter the media rage?
Indeed, how much more is required to stop the genocide? The carnage in Ambazonia didn't start today. In 1961, 1972, 1984, 1992, Ambazonians were slaughtered in huge numbers and help was not forthcoming. Why? Because the oppressor was the piper in the media.
The good news is we have what it takes to dictate the pace.
Right now, ABC Amba TV is taking advantage of the wonders of multimedia aggressively
to inform the misinformed and disinformed with Undaunted and other revolutionary programs bringing it to the news untold stories.
Most importantly, to win the media war by taking ABC Amba TV into every multimedia platform.
In a word, where the importance of storytelling can never be overemphasized, Ambazonians has to tell her own story, not the other way round.
And like we say it always, Ambazonia must narrate her story accurately. We can do this together, you know, right? You are just a click away. Visit our website at www.abcambatv.com, and the steps are quite simple.
With just a click on the website, you can become a club member with so many benefits.
You can also make a one-time donation, advertise and showcase your goods and services at the marketplace on the website.
That was easy, right? You're welcome on board.
And thank you for opting for the winning team.
Even though it's a sound sympathizer of their colonial republic, the Cameroon barbaric regime in Yaoundé, they have suffered for lodging, fleeing Cameroon terrorism from La Republique du Cameroon in the 1950s to the 1970s. It has been abandoned to itself. Well, news reaching Undaunted says the people of Tombel local government area in Kupe Monanguba County have been without electricity for over 5 months, and this has been a negative effect on their activities. And of course, it's coupled with the poor nature of roads in the locality, and that has even made the matter worse for the inhabitants of that locality. Well, it's on this sad note we will begin the full report of On Thursday tonight. I am Oni Opala. How are you doing, sir?
Very well, Oni. Good evening, Amazonians. Well, Akum Germain, a student living in Tombell local government area, lament the major challenge that we face is electricity issue because I do not think there is anyone who can survive the day today life without electricity in the century. We have been for over 3 months and still counting without electricity. We have cried out so many times for government intervention. For example, the from Saturday till today, February 6th, we have had no electricity, not even a little flash of it. It says the roads are the worst part, especially for some of us who depend solely on agriculture for livelihood. We harvest plantains, yams, mostly cocoa, and we are frustrated on how to get them to the market. We have everything in Tumbel, so many farm produce, but no roads. So how do we survive? Asongwe Hillary, the farmer, wonders out loud.
Well, another young farmer, Moa Pasker, he says, in a locality where youth are mostly farmers, most of us depend on agriculture to survive. Some of us could not finish school, while others have all the school certificates but have returned to their localities to farm due to lack of jobs. Now, in order to address some of these situations, the Colonial Republic Declared Minister of Youth Affairs and Civic Education, Monona Fosto, alongside other La Republique du Cameroon's government officials, has promised to equip the multipurpose youth empowerment center, which is under construction in Tombel.
Now, Tombe local government area is one of the localities hit by the Ambazonian liberation conflict. The Colonial Republic of Cameroon's minister Mununa Futso has urged the youth of Tombel to remain prudent and has congratulated them for striving to be an example to others as they engage in agriculture. The youth and population of Tombel local government area are calling on the Colonial Republic of Cameroon's government to grant them their wish of food, of good roads and electricity so they can enjoy farming and be able to produce more.
Our Tomball local government area is not alone in these predicaments. Almost all the other local government areas and counties in Amberland have been neglected by the Colonial La Republique du Cameroon exploitative government. In Dongam Mountain County, for instance, there are no roads, and the population there saw electricity over 3 years ago. Many depend now on solar energy, which is not even affordable for every household.
And now on to another report for tonight. The 11th February is a day that the birthright of Amazonia was stolen. Now, on the 11th of February, in the history of Southern Cameroon's Amazonia, is a day any right thinking Amazonia wish never existed, as it is the day that the rights of Amazonians were stolen. This is the day the United Nations, in a conspiracy type of a plebiscite, rubbished the integrity and sovereignty of the former British Southern Cameroons, which, like any other territory under trusteeship, was supposed to be autonomous. But no, the UN, playing the part of an army rescue in a scenario void of fire, put the clause for the independence of former British Southern Cameroons.
Well, the people of former British Southern Cameroons were charged to become independent by joining either Nigeria or the Republic of Cameroon. Where was this clause coming from? Had it ever taken place elsewhere before in the world? Now, the third option, the wish for justice, was denied to the people of Southern Cameroons. This third was becoming an independent country.
Well, the interim government has announced a total lockdown of the entire Amazonia on the 10th and 11th of February 2023. The alert came in from the Secretary of State for Communications and IT for the interim government, Dr. Martin Mungwa, in an audio that was recorded on Saturday, the 4th of February. According to the alert calling on a total lockdown of Amazonia, the Secretary of State for Communications and IT for the interim government invites all Amazonians and the Amazonian Restoration Force to respect the call with a special task to the Amazonian Restoration Force to ensure the effectiveness of the call. Well, we have this message from Dr. Martin Mungwa.
Alert, alert, alert. This is Dr. Martin Mungwa, Secretary of State for Communication and IT for the interim government. Today, Saturday, the 4th of February, 2023, I become for one for giving this very important message from the interim government. I want to tell everybody, Amazonians, ARFs, I want to give this very important message from the interim government. Say next Friday, the 10th and 11th Saturday, February 2023, now complete lockdown. Absolute complete lockdown. Again, I repeat, next Friday, the 10th and Saturday, the 11th of February 2023, now complete lockdown in Amazonia. I call on our ARFs for make sure, say, we implement this lockdown news or this lockdown announcement where it come from the interim government. And for make sure, say, defaulters, they will pay for violating the lockdown. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Well, by the alert, defaulters will have themselves to blame, given that the Amazonian Restoration Forces has the mandate to ensure the respect of the 2-day lockdown on the ground. Now, a similar call equally came in from one of the home front fighters, reiterating the importance of the neutral Monday ghost towns, a symbol of the liberation struggle. That any person who fails to respect the Monday ghost town is a sign of recognition of the fallen heroes and an act of resilience to allow Republic to Cameroon denomination of the Federal Republic of Amazonia and will be, dealt with. Let's get that audio.
Good day, good day, good day, fellow sounding Cameroonians, Ambazonians. Today na Sunday, February the 5th, 2023. This one now na picking Gabonese and come live for home front. I go send to all of us a gun salute for all our field masters, generals, commanders, colonels, and foot soldiers for defend Ambazonia from the hands of the French Cameroon barbaric and terrorist soldiers. Why be sent by Paul Biya, Hitler, Bill Vondo, Bartholomew, the terrorists, why they suffer from dementia, sponsored by France and some other criminal Western nations. Fellow Ambazonians, I come this morning, make we know, say our Monday's ghost town, where it stand for the symbol of our liberation struggle, must be respected. Any man who not respect our Monday's national lockdown, where it stand for the symbol of our freedom, of this struggle, for our fallen heroes, our civilians, our prisoners, fellow Ambazonians. And we can remind Ambazonians, so we all know, since 2017, all French Cameroon criminal imposed national days were banned in the southern Cameroon, Ambazonia, like 20 May, 11 February, Labor Day, Women's Day, and all national days where this criminal regime for Yaoundé, it be imposed on our people, it will be banned since 2017. So we advise all Mamidem, our picking them, semi French Cameroon, come break that sardine, and some Franks can't convince you now. When I saw that picking for outside, me go face the bullet between our brave fighters and French Cameroon terrorist military. Fellow Ambazonians, and what can remind you now, say we don't agree, say the 10th and the 11th of February, now a national lockdown day, for say no to any form of celebration for so-called youth day without no future in Ambazonia. Fellow Ambazonians, Mekuna also French Cameroon and the Betty Boulufang and the CBD cabal. They use all these days them for lie for the international community. Say things are normal. Why in the Saudi Cameroons there is full war in Amazonia and French Cameroon they kill our people on daily basis. We advise all mommy them, papa them, our sister them and brothers. Mekuna stay at home on the 10th and the 11th of February for someone life it be safe because French Cameroon they do their possible best for keep Saudi Cameroon on their slavery, but gone are the days of our forefathers. Today, we will never again generation. And we go fight until Saudi Cameroon is going to be fully restored. Nothing more, nothing less. La République du Cameroon be declared war on us. Will be advised by France. Again generation. We then have an armed struggle. Safe because we'll be guerrilla fighters. We go appear and disappear anytime. Show me all our civilians. They be vigilant. I'm gonna stay safe for our various counties, on our LGA, and our areas of command. But when I work in close collaboration with all Ambazonian freedom fighters for our localities. But when I follow the rules of the war, I will not stay safe. I will not stay strong. Fellow Ambazonians, I want to remind you, say make you know. Say French Cameroon, and they use those old criminal baboons for Yaoundé, like Pobia Bill Vondo, Bartholomew, Marseille Nyadji Fenji, Cavaye, Kebe Jibril, Philemon Yang, Mosonge, Frundi, Atanganji, Elvis Golengole, Tabetando, Ngala Gerard, and so many French Cameroon CBD accomplices when they don't join the rank of those CBD platform for kill enemy cold blood. But I want to tell you today, says Saudi Cameroon is not for sale. Saudi Cameroon was a free state, and Saudi Cameroon and Amazonia will remain a state until we reach Boya. Our fight for independence is stand on the platform of justice, and justice must prevail. Then peace will come naturally. Fellow Ambazonians, I tell all my media papa them, say we don't lost more than 50,000 Saudi Cameroonians in cold blood. They don't burn down so many villages. They don't destroy our educational system. But we are not so get only one way to go. That a free Saudi Cameroon will go benefit for our natural resources will be given to us by God. Now is the time for all Ambazonians for no say we for work in close collaboration for the sake of this great nation of Amazonia. More than 2.5 million Saudi Cameroonians they don't integrate themselves for self-defense strategy for this 2023. So the days ahead are deadly. With them much more ready and stronger than before. For first French Cameroon using guerrilla tactic of fighting, we will not, I will never give French Cameroon any second chance. We go fight until one man standing. Saudi Cameroons must be liberated. Ambazonians must be free. It's a matter of must. We give a fight. We give a fight until we restore our national territory. Where due to international conspiracy, where Saudi Cameroon find itself with this barbaric regime and the Yaoundé cabal. Make una stay safe, una stay strong. The days ahead are deadly. And remain again. Make una know say the 10th and 11th of February. Now a national lockdown for East Amazonia. For say no to any French Cameroon sponsored youth day without future in a foreign country when Amazonia. French Cameroon have no audacity and no right for impose or give any orders in our national territory. And you find the administrators, you find the militaries, you find any man where they represent election or whatsoever in Amazonia in the name of this criminal French Cameroon process in Amazonia. Saudi Cameroon is at war. We go take our country by force. We go fight on the Saudi Cameroon fully liberated. Nothing more, nothing less. Make una stay safe, una stay strong. Short live the struggle. May God bless Amazonia.
All right, now from the breaking news we brought to you yesterday at exactly 6:30 p.m. Amba time, the Boyi warriors under the command of Major General Tokemdu welcomed La Republic du Cameroon into the land of no return with three thunderous explosions and a message to some to deliver to Mr. Ekema using the Akonolinga Express. The Boyi warriors, after learning of a new colonial deployment in Tobin, Kumbo local government area, did not allow them to settle in. The Melum stretch became the new Waterloo as multiple large explosive devices detonated on target, sending huge plumes of smoke billowing into the air.
Well, immediately after, the loud explosion came thunderous gunshot fire from multiple directions as the town went silent. The battered La Republic du Cameroon terrorists started burning houses around the area, but the warriors did not permit them to do that and engaged in gunfire exchange for at least 3 hours. Now, the warriors all finally returned back safe and sound, and many left the La Republic to Cameroon terrorists asking themselves why they had to take such a mission. Now, the Buyi warriors are once again calling on all La Republic to Cameroon terrorist elements deployed in Buyi and Ambazonia as a whole to hand over their weapons to the nearest Ambazonia Restoration Forces base and be given a safe passage to a safe neighboring country.
Well, the Buoy Warriors are also calling on all Amazonian people, friends and well-wishers, lovers of the sublime ideals of justice, freedom, peace, liberty, and independence to continue to support them so that they can continue to fight these terrorists until they capitulate and leave the territory of Amazonia. Well, here is a video that we couldn't bring to you yesterday. Here it is.
Yes, we are the Bull Warriors, LRF, under Major General Pekandu. We are here to attack the terrorists of Cameroon. We are going to show them. Very soon they will attack. We are going to show them that we know what we are doing. And don't fighting. You can see the terrorists passing. We are going to show them.
All right, and this is a very important press release. Now, the President of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, through the Department of Education and Strategic Collaboration, is inviting all Amazonians and well wishers to an international town hall, which will be held on Saturday, 11th February 2023 at 8 p.m. Amba time. Now, this day has been earmarked as a day when Amazonians will be educated on the ills behind the so called Plebiscite Day and later Youth Day, which is the 11th of February.
Now, in addition, Amazonians will be commemorating the Genocide Day, where all the massacres committed by La Republic du Cameroon in the land of Amazonia will be remembered. The theme for this year is the 3 R's, reflecting on, rubbishing, and remembering infamous days in Amazonia. Well, we'll have as guest speakers Barrister Team, Barrister Fru, Professor Tebo, and Pa Ndanga.
All right. Featuring also will be the Department of Archives, Civil Society, the DHACM, Women's Services, Health and Social Services, and the National Treasury. They will all speak on various issues related to the massacres and the genocide in Amazonia. Now, of course, this was signed by Professor Beatrice Ipote, Secretary of State, Department of Education and Strategic Collaboration. And of course, she's also in the studio with us. And we just want to ask her a few questions shortly just to get more insight on this particular town hall meeting. All right. Professor Ipote, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right, very loud and clear. Okay, Prof, please, we want to find out why is it necessary to have this particular event that the Department of Education and Strategic Collaboration is planning? Why is it important?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Yes, this event is important to us as Ambazonians and especially to the Department of Education and Strategic Collaboration because it is our responsibility to educate our people and the rest of the world, the international community as a whole. They need to know about our nation, the truth about our nation, and it's only we ourselves who can educate them about our nation. Ambazonians and the world need to know what happened on the 11th of February 1961. They need to know the true meaning behind that date. It has to be communicated to them and to the rest of the world. Similarly, the world needs to know about the massacres that La République du Cameroon is committing in Amazonia. So this event is for us an opportunity to bring to light these issues that I've already mentioned and the atrocities that La République has been committing and is still committing in our nation. So to us, this event is very important.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Professor Epote. Okay. Now, what is the rationale behind the theme for this year's commemoration? As it is stated, the 3 R's, reflecting on, rubbishing, and remembering infamous days in Amazonia. So, what is the rationale behind the theme for this year?
Yes, thank you for that. Thank you for that question. Let me start with the phrase "infamous days." Indeed, these are infamous days because the events that we will be talking about, the 11th of February 1961, and the massacres that are taking place in Amazonia are not events that one want to reckon with. They are not events that leave any pleasant memories. So we want to make Amazonians and the rest of the world aware of these events that are more or less destroying our nation. We are reflecting on 11 February because that day had a meaning, which we will get from the speakers on that day, whether that meaning that was given to that day is actually what it was. So that is why we say, let's reflect day and see if indeed whatever the colonizer called it, it was called a plebiscite. But was it really a plebiscite? It was later on changed into Youth Day by La République. Why was it changed to a Youth Day when in actual fact the colonizers called it the plebiscite day? So we want to make the people aware of some of these intricacies and make them know the truth. It's all about knowing the truth about Amazonia. And when it comes to the massacres, we are commemorating, we are trying to remember our loved ones who were massacred and just brutally.
Wisdom for the Ambazonian quest with Bridget Muyang Fielding. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. King Solomon, Proverbs 4:7, KJV.
And if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing, yet as he ought to know. Apostle Paul, 1 Corinthians 8:2.
We are only as wise as our awareness of our ignorance. The only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing. Socrates/Plato. This wisdom is the altar of humility and success.
There is no wisdom for a nation at war to sink its own gunboat. It weakens diplomacy, is tantamount to capitulation and defeat. That is exactly what some so-called Amazonian leaders have done, asking fighters to keep low for whatever reason. This is surrender wisdom, and it has delayed progress for 2 years. Bridget Muyang Fielding.
Wisdom for the Ambazonian quest with Bridget Muyang Fielding. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. King Solomon, Proverbs 4:7, KJV.
And if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing, yet as he ought to know. Apostle Paul, 1 Corinthians 8:2.
We are only as wise as our awareness of our ignorance. The only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing. Socrates/Plato. This wisdom is the altar of humility and success.
There is no wisdom for a nation at war to sink its own gunboat. It weakens diplomacy, is tantamount to capitulation and defeat. That is exactly what some so-called Amazonian leaders have done, asking fighters to keep low for whatever reason. This is surrender wisdom, and it has delayed progress for 2 years. Bridget Muyang Fielding.
Wisdom for the Ambazonian quest with Bridget Muyang Fielding. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. King Solomon, Proverbs 4:7, KJV.
And if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing, yet as he ought to know. Apostle Paul, 1 Corinthians 8:2.
We are only as wise as our awareness of our ignorance. The only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing. Socrates/Plato. This wisdom is the altar of humility and success.
There is no wisdom for a nation at war to sink its own gunboat. It weakens diplomacy, is tantamount to capitulation.
Ambazonia. Stay tuned.
Get trained as an IT professional from the comfort of your home. Dynamic Tech Academy gives you a unique opportunity through our 6-month program, during which you learn skills to transition to being a full-time IT professional. Over 80% of our students have no prior IT background, yet the vast majority of them land jobs a month after they start applying. Our ultimate goal is to reach 100% student placement, so we work with every student until he or she gets a job. Upon successful completion of the course, we will give you a resume, interview preps, one-on-one coaching from experienced instructors, and job placement assistance. Within this course, you get more than 300 hours of theories combined with real-world applications and practical skills you can apply on day one on your job. At the end of the program, our students can be certified as Red Hat Systems Administrator, AWS Cloud Engineer, AWS Security Specialist. Visit our website at www.dynamictechacademy.com to register.
Wisdom for the Ambazonian Quest with Bridget Muyang Fielding. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. King Solomon, Proverbs 4:7, KJV.
And if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing, yet as he ought to know. Apostle Paul, 1 Corinthians 8 verse 2.
We are only as wise as our awareness of our ignorance. The only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing. Socrates/Plato. This wisdom is the altar of humility and success.
There is no wisdom for a nation at war to sink its own gunboat. It weakens diplomacy, is tantamount to capitulation and defeat. That is exactly what some so-called Amazonian leaders have done, asking fighters to keep low for whatever reason. This is surrender wisdom, and it has delayed progress for 2 years. Bridget Muyang Fielding.
Wisdom for the Ambazonian Quest with Bridget Muyang Fielding. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. King Solomon, Proverbs 4:7, KJV.
And if any man think that he knoweth anything, he knoweth nothing, yet as he ought to know. Apostle Paul, 1 Corinthians 8 verse 2.
We are only as wise as our awareness of our ignorance. The only true wisdom is knowing you know nothing. Socrates/Plato. This wisdom is the altar of humility and success.
There is no wisdom for a nation at war to sink its own gunboat. It weakens diplomacy, is tantamount to capitulation, and
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Oh,
Sorry.
sincere apologies for that disconnection.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can. We are sincerely apologizing to you first for that disconnection. So we'll go back right on air, and we'll definitely continue with the interview.
Okay.
All right, fellow Ambazonians, we sincerely apologize for that disconnection there. We had some issues with the technical department, but here we are to round up the interview with Professor Ipote. All right, so I'm sure that we're talking about the rationale behind the commemoration. Prof, you might want to continue from where you stopped.
All right. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear, please go ahead.
absolutely.
Thank you so much. I'm not very sure where I stopped, but I think I was talking about the rationale behind the 3 hours,
The theme
and I
of
was saying that
The infamous part.
yes, you're talking about the infamous
yes,
part.
the infamous part. Yes, I was saying that first it is infamous because the memories that are associated with the events of the days that we are talking about are not good memories at all. That's why we call them infamous. What happened with, for instance, the 11th of February 1961 was meant to be a plebiscite day by the colonizers. Later on, it was changed to a youth day. So, as Ambazonians, we need to make it known. Why was it first something else and later on changed into something else? People need to know the truth that is behind all of this. And then we have the massacres. We have massacred children and even adults who were just, slaughtered like animals. And like I was saying, these things are happening and the rest of the world is quiet. So it is our responsibility to bring these things to the limelight, let people know about them, and let people know that what is happening in Ambazonia is something that needs to stop with immediate effect. So the issue of or the idea of rubbishing, of course, stems from the fact that the events are not something that we even want to think about, and the lies behind all what is happening those are the things we have to rubbish and throw them away, if I can put it that way. And of course, like I said, the reflecting part is for people to know why is it that at one stage we were talking something, this language, and another stage we are talking a different language. What is the hidden agenda behind that? And of course, when we think of our loved ones who just had to be sacrificed the way they were, the way they left, then the only thing we can do is just to remember them and celebrate them as true Amazonians who have given their lives for the liberation of our nation. So that is why we went for this theme.
All right, Prof. Now, how will the event be commemorated? We want to know exactly how these particular events will be commemorated.
Okay, so we are going to have a Zoom, an international town hall on Zoom, where we are inviting not only Ambazonians, but the rest of the world to join us, to come and listen to Ambazonians telling their story as it is, so that they will know exactly why, as Ambazonians, we are demanding what is duly ours. So there will be that town hall, which will be on Zoom, and of course, it will be live on ABC and other social media platforms. And we will have, I think from the press release that you have read, we are going to have various speakers who will be speaking to different elements of the day as a whole, and also different units of the government who will be relating the story of the massacres that we have and their effect on the different aspects of the lives of Ambazonia.
All right, thank you so much, Professor Poche. Okay, finally, we just want to know, like, if you have any special appeal to Ambazonians, in regards to this particular town hall.
Yes, thank you. I'm just going to call on all Ambazonians to make sure that on Saturday the 11th at 8 p.m. they join the Zoom. For those who, for one reason or the other, cannot join the Zoom, let them join our ABC TV and follow this program and come and listen to the truth about their nation. It is only Ambazonians who can tell the truth about their nation. And therefore, those who are not yet aware of what is happening, some who are still sitting and thinking otherwise, this is an opportunity for them to come and know the truth about their nation, what is happening to their people, and also the rest of the world. This is an opportunity. We are calling on the rest of the world to also come and hear the truth about the situation in Ambazonia from Ambazonians themselves, and not the lies that La Republique is feeding the world out there. That will be my special plea. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much to Dr. Epote, Professor Epote.
All right, so we'll be looking forward towards the event proper, and we hope that all the Ambazonians have heard the words and advice from Professor Ipote, so you all get ready for the town hall meeting.
Now on to the international scene, talking about Nigeria. Continuing with the report from yesterday on cash scarcity in the neighboring Nigeria, the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission about a week ago after the nation arrested an operations manager of a leading commercial bank in Abuja central area for refusing to load the automated teller machines, the ATMs, of the bank despite having 29 million naira of the redesigned naira notes in the branch's vault. Before he was whisked away for further questioning, the operatives ordered the loading of all the ATMs and the payment of the stipulated amount across the counter, to the delight of the distraught customers who had spent hours in queues without getting the new note. This discovery, which indicates a sabotage of the government's monetary policy by some banks, was made by the EFCC in continuation of the ongoing surveillance and visit to banks across the country, Nigeria, to access their vaults and verify whether they were deliberately refusing to dispense the redesigned naira notes.
Now, more than 5 bank branches were covered from then by the operatives in Nigeria's capital, Abuja. Similar exercises were ongoing in zonal commands across the country. A statement by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission spokesman Wilson Uwajaran said monitoring of banks and arrest of recalcitrant officials would continue until normalcy is restored to the banking system. The EFCC asked Nigerians finding it difficult to access their funds at any bank or suspect any foul play to contact the Commission for immediate intervention.
Well, the Independent Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offences Commission's ICPC in Nigeria says it has arrested 2 bank officials and 7 other points of sales, that is POS operators in Abuja and Osun State, over suspected naira racketeering. A statement by the ICPC spokesperson Azuka Ogugwa said on Friday that the commission arrested a branch service head of Stanbic IBTC Bank, whose name was not disclosed, at the bank's branch in Dei, suburb of Abuja.
Now, the ICPC said the bank official arrested in Abuja was detained over the bank's alleged refusal to upload cash into the branch's automated teller machines, that's the ATM, even when it was available and people were lining up at the ATMs. When the ICPC monitoring team stormed the bank at about 1:30 p.m. to ensure compliance and demanded an explanation as to why all the ATMs were not dispensing cash, it was informed by the branch head of operations that the bank just got delivery of the cash. However, facts available to the ICPC operatives indicated that the branch took delivery of the cash around 11:58 a.m. and either willfully or maliciously refused to feed the ATMs with the cash. That's what the statement also added.
Well, in a related development, the statement said its compliance team also arrested the operations manager of another bank, FCMB branch in Osobo, Osun State capital. The ICPC said it observed at the branch that some ATMs were loaded with cash, but they were with wrappers unremoved, thus preventing the cash from being dispensed.
Emmanuel Onwubiko is head of the Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria, and he said, and I quote, "The hurriedly put up cash swap by the Central Bank of Nigeria at the 11th hour shows that the Apex Bank has seen that its deadline is not feasible. Why is CBN so insensitive, irresponsible, and arrogant?" Well, the report says that 90% of Nigerians haven't seen or even seen the redesigned 20 naira, 500 naira, 1000 naira note, yet the Central Bank of Nigeria is using military faith to invalidate the old notes that are still being dispensed by banks with only a week to the so-called deadline. Now, the CBN is apparently confused. That's what the guy says.
Well, with the recent developments of bank managers hoarding cash, I think he obviously hasn't seen that, but he further buttresses citizens are unable to access their little cash, whereas politicians are actually buying up the few notes that are printed and distributed by the incompetent and grossly inefficient CBN, he says, and the security and minting company headed by the brother of the wife of the president, Nasser El-Rufai, alleged a governor has just bought 500 million naira of the redesigned notes. El-Rufai is the governor of Kaduna State and a staunch promoter of the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Now, if Onwubika believes politicians are behind accumulating so much cash to themselves and not letting the citizens of the country, Nigeria, get any at all, or a very minute minimum, then it goes further to point that CBN are not exactly responsible for the lack of disbursement of cash, but the bank officials cooperating with such politicians. This just goes a long way to show the corruption in Africa. Really disheartening.
Well, in another video showing several bundles of new Naira notes hidden in a room at a particular bank called Sterling Bank PLC in Ado Ekiti, Nigeria, has been trending on social media. Now, the bank was said to have refused to dispense cash through its 5 automated teller machines for about 2 weeks. Well, a background voice who identified himself simply as Oweye, a deputy director with the Central Bank of Nigeria, stated that the bank officials claimed the ATMs were yet to be configured.
Okay, let's hope that is a thing. Well, Owaye said they have 6 million naira which they collected from the Central Bank of the nation Nigeria for about 2 weeks, but never disbursed this money. They said they are yet to configure the ATM. He says, I don't know why that is so. I brought their attention to the penalty clause of 1 million naira per day because they have 5 ATMs, so they don't have any reason for keeping this money. The zonal service manager, Kunle Onipede, promised that too late, 10 a.m. the next day after this encounter, because he promised them that he will be there by 10 a.m. and he wants to see the machine dispensing the money, the 6 million naira. Well, before that, we wondered who, like yesterday, we wondered who are they keeping this money for when the masses are going into chaos over the scarcity of money? Why are bank officials hiding this money? Now, today we're wondering if they see these politicians better than their fellow citizens. Well, let's see this video for yourself.
Currently at Sterling Bank Road, as part of this monitoring compliance with the guidelines by CBN, they have 6 million, which they've collected from the bank for almost 2 weeks. They've not disbursed any. They said they're here to configure their ATM. I do not know why that. And I brought attention to the penalty clause of 1 million per day, because they have 5 ATMs here, and so there's nothing stopping them from keeping. They don't have any reason for keeping this money. The general service manager, what's his name again? Tunde Onipede promised that by 10 a.m. latest tomorrow, because I told him by latest 10 a.m. I'll be here, and I want to see this machine dispensing this money. This is what's the name?
All right, sad news there from West Africa, Nigeria. Now, moving on to other sad news from the foreign scene. More than 4,300 people have died in Turkey. Now, yesterday, Monday, 7th February in Istanbul, Turkey, report says more than 4,300 people have died and rescuers are racing to pull survivors from beneath the rubble after a devastating earthquake rippled through Turkey and Syria, leaving destruction and debris on each side of the border. Well, one of the strongest earthquakes to hit the region in a century shook residents from their beds at around 4 a.m. on Monday, sending tremors as far away as Lebanon and Israel. Well, according to Turkey's head of disaster services, Yunus Caesar, he says at least 2,921 people were killed and more than 15,800 others injured.
Now, in neighboring Syria, at least 1,451 people have died. According to the Syrian state news agency SANA, 711 people have died across government-controlled areas, mostly in the region of Aleppo, Hama, Latakia, and Tartus. The White Helmets Group, officially known as the Syria Civil Defense, reported 740 deaths in opposition-controlled areas, much of northwestern Syria, which borders Turkey and is controlled by anti-government forces amid a bloody civil war that began in 2011. The epicenter of the 7.8 magnitude quake was 23 kilometers, 14.2 miles east of Nordegi in Turkey's Gaziantep province at a depth of 24.1 kilometers, that is 14.9 miles. And the United States Geological Survey, USGS, had this to say.
Well, a series of aftershocks have reverberated throughout the day. The largest, a major quake, and measured 7.5 in magnitude, hitting Turkey about 9 hours after the initial quake. Now, according to the USGS, that aftershock has hit 95 kilometers, that's 59 miles north of the original video from the scene in Turkey, which showed that the day-breaking overrolls of collapsed buildings, some with apartments exposed to the elements as people huddled in the freezing cold beside them waiting for help. Well, a host of countries have sent rescue workers to help the stricken region, where a colossal effort to find and free trapped civilians is underway. A cold and wet weather system is moving through the region, further hampering that challenge. Now, let's see that video.
Abla şu an lütfen siz kendinizi düşünün. Başka bir şey görmüyorum ben.
Yani ben uyuyordum, eşim beni uyandırdı. Ama çok şiddetli diye korkunç bir depremdi tabii. Her taraftan ses geliyordu. Bayağı da sürdü, yani ben tahminen 2 dakika kadar sürdü.
أنا اتسحبت دلوقتي بدي أحمل حالي ماشي. أنا ماشي ولا جيراننا بيت صغير قامت طب انطب الحيط كله علي زتيت حالي ما لحقت حكمني على إجري. إيه فصفى يعني انكسرت أنا بس الحمد لله الولد ما في شيء.
All right, now that's the video you just watched, and it is courtesy CNA. Well, Monday's quake is believed to be the strongest to hit Turkey since 1939, when an earthquake of the same magnitude killed 30,000 people. According to the USGS, earthquakes of this magnitude are rare, with fewer than 5 occurring each year on average anywhere in the world. 7 quakes with magnitude 7.0 or greater have struck Turkey in the past 25 years, but Monday's is the most powerful. Carl Lang, an assistant professor at Georgia's Tech University School of Earth and Atmospheric Sciences, told CNN the area hit by the quake Monday is prone to seismic activity. It's a very large fault zone, but this is a larger earthquake than they've experienced anytime in recent memory, Lang said.
Well, meanwhile, the situation in Syria appears to be dire. More than 4 million people rely on humanitarian assistance in the region of northwest Syria, where the deadly earthquake struck. According to the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, the majority of these people are women and children. Along with the devastation from the earthquake, Syrian communities are battling on the ongoing cholera outbreak amid a harsh winter with heavy rain and snow over the weekend. Well, that's what the OCH had reported as well. And coming up next is sports.
And in sports, Leeds manager Jesse Marsh has been sacked after less than a year in charge. Leeds lost 1-0 at Nottingham Forest on Sunday, their seventh Premier League game without a win. Gabalison has more.
Sports. Latest world sports. Football. Leeds United. Jesse Marsh sacked after less than a year in charge. Leeds manager Jesse Marsh has been sacked after less than a year in charge. Leeds lost 1-0 at Nottingham Forest on Sunday, their seventh Premier League game without a win. They are 17th in the table, above the relegation zone only on goal difference, and last one in the league on 5th November. Leeds finished 17th last season after American Marsh succeeded Marcelo Bielsa in February. A club statement read, "We would like to thank Jesse and his backroom staff for their efforts and wish them well for the future. The process of appointing a new head coach is underway, and we will continue to keep supporters up to date throughout the coming days." Coaches Rennie Marik, Cameron Toshak, and Pierre Barrieu have also been sacked. Leeds play Manchester United at Old Trafford on Wednesday and again at Elland Road on Sunday. Coaches Michael Scubala, Paco Galador, and Chris Armas, who was appointed as Marsh's assistant just last week, will take charge of the team for Wednesday's match in Manchester. Marsh's side won only 4 of their 20 league matches this season, with 6 draws and 10 defeats. Defeat by Nottingham Forest in his final match in charge left him with a 25% win rate after 32 Premier League games as Leeds boss. A former coach of RB Leipzig, New York Red Bulls, and Red Bull Salzburg, he took over with Leeds 16th in the table. They avoided relegation to the Championship thanks to a 2-1 win at Brentford on the final day of last season. Manchester City charged with breaking financial rules by Premier League. The Premier League had charged Manchester City with more than 100 breaches of its financial rules following a 4-year investigation. It has referred the club to an independent commission over alleged rule breaches between 2009 and 2018. It also accused City of not cooperating since the investigation started in December 2018. City said they were surprised by the charges and are supported by a body of irrefutable evidence. The Commission can impose punishments ranging from a fine and points deduction to expulsion from the Premier League. Manchester City is surprised by the issuing of these alleged breaches of the Premier League rules, particularly given the extensive engagement and vast amount of detailed materials that the EPL has been provided with. The club said in a statement, the club welcomes the review of this matter by an independent commission to impartially consider the comprehensive body of irrefutable evidence that exists in support of its position. As such, we look forward to this matter being put to rest once and for all. Last season, City won their 6th Premier League title since the 2008 takeover by the Abu Dhabi United Group. Cricket. Aaron Finch. Australia T20 campaign retires from international cricket. Former Australian white ball captain Aaron Finch has announced his retirement from international cricket. Opening batter Finch, 36, was Australia's T20 captain, having retired from one-day internationals in September. He represented Australia in 5 tests, 146 one-day internationals, and 103 T20s, leading them to their first T20 World Cup title in 2021. Finch said it had been an incredible honor to play for Australia. He is set to continue playing in domestic T20 competitions, including in the Big Bash League (BBL) for Melbourne Renegades. Realizing that I won't be playing on until the next T20 World Cup in 2024, now is the right moment. Step down and give the team time to plan and build towards that event, he said. Finch is Australia's highest run scorer in men's T20s with 3,120, which puts him 6th in the all-time rankings. He hit 2 centuries in T20 internationals, finishing with an average of 34.28 and a strike rate of 142.53. finishing with an average of 34.28 and a strike rate of 142.53. He scored 5,401 runs in ODIs at an average of 39.13, including 17 centuries, and was part of the Australian squad who won the 2015 50-over World Cup. Team success is what you play the game for, and the maiden T20 World Cup win in 2021 and lifting the ODI World Cup at home soil in 2015 will be the two memories I cherish the most, he added. To be able to represent Australia for 12 years and play with and against some of the greatest players of all time has been an incredible honor. Finch has the highest individual score in men's T20 internationals, 172 off 76 balls against Zimbabwe in 2018, beating his own record at a time of 156 against England in 2013. Only India's Rohit Sharma 182 and New Zealand's Martit Guptill 173 have hit more than Finch's 126 in T20 internationals. Finch made his international debut in a T20 against England in 2011 before playing his first ODI against Sri Lanka 2 years later. He played all 5 of his tests in 2018, scoring 2 half-centuries at an average of 27.8. After initially being made T20 captain in 2014, Finch was stripped of the role 2 years later when Steve Smith became Australia's keeper in all 3 formats. Finch then took over the white ball captaincy from Smith in 2018 following the ball tampering scandal during Australia's Test series against South Africa. He led them to the semi-finals of the 2019 50-over World Cup and an 8-wicket win over New Zealand in the 2021 T20 World Cup final in Dubai. After he was replaced by fast bowler Pat Cummins as ODI captain, Finch continued to lead Australia in the 2022 Men's T20 World Cup on home soil, but the defending champions failed to reach the knockout stages. He captained Australia in 55 ODIs and 76 T20s. Finch struggled for form in internationals in 2022, averaging just 12.42 in ODIs and 28.44 in T20s. However, he starred in this year's BBL, scoring 428 runs to help Melbourne Renegades reach the knockout match, where they lost to Brisbane Heat. Finch has been one of the most prominent T20 cricketers around the world, having played for 9 different franchises in the Indian Premier League and has represented Melbourne Renegades in the BBL since the competition began in 2011. Cricket Australia chair Dr. Lachlan Henderson congratulated Finch on an exceptional international career and said he is one of the Australia's finest white ball players. He added, in full flight, there were few batters more powerful than Aaron. As one of only 4 men's players to captain Australia to a World Cup victory, Aaron will always have a special place in Australian cricket's history. Gab Ellison reporting from Undaunted, ABC Amba News.
And with that sports report, we've come to the end of Undaunted tonight. But before we go, let's give a recap of our major stories.
Tomea local government area crippling lack roads, electricity, and the interim government declares 10th, 11th of February a total shutdown in Ambazonia. 11th February, a day the birthright of Ambazonia was stolen.
Well, today we told you that Buyi County Situation Report is taking over firepower. And we also had an exclusive interview with Professor Ipote, SOS of Education. Now, we also told you that more than 4,300 people have died in an earthquake in Turkey. And in sports, we told you that Jesse Marsh got sacked after less than a year in charge. And that was it for tonight on Undaunted, bringing to the news on Church Stories. On behalf of my co-anchor here, Star Smart, and the entire Undaunted crew, we say thank you for tuning in. Good night and God bless.
Leave you with ABC Amba TV images.